How to write a critique. This is also preparation for your first out-of-class essay. What is a critique? A critique is a paper that gives a critical assessment of a book or article. It's a systematic analysis of a piece of literature that discusses its validity and even evaluates its worth. Its main purpose is not informational, but analytic and persuasive. In analyzing the content and context within which the book or article was written, the writer of a critique argues whether it is worth reading or not. Writing a critique, also known as writing a critical response. A good critique should provide critical commentary on the quality of the text. It contains a discussion of the thesis and major argument, the organization and style, the author's, meaning your, values and assumptions. The critique should pay more attention to evaluating the strengths and weaknesses of a text. It should ultimately answer the question, does this text accurately support the thesis the author has put forth, and are those arguments worth reading? So you will have to locate the thesis of the article. What does the text cover, and be able to summarize it briefly? Who is the author and what are his or her biases? What are the major points that the author makes in the text? Do you think these ideas are correct? Do you accept them? Why or why not? Specifically look for, does the author substantiate his or her points satisfactorily with information, logic, and examples? Okay, those are all support for an argument. And when I say logic here, I'm specifically referring to logical fallacies. Do the author's ideas agree with your experience and knowledge? Are there special features about this text which interest or disturb you, such as unusual information or new ways of looking at an issue? Are there questions raised for you in this text which the author does not answer? If you have read other sources on the same general topic, how does this text differ from others? And are there any additional comments you should include in order to make the essence of this text understood by someone reading your review? These questions may be answered in any order, but your critique should answer all of them. A critique, like any other piece of writing, should observe the basic requirement of literary discourse. There should be an introduction that includes a clear and concise thesis statement, which is a limited subject plus an opinion. And in this case, I'm referring to the critique you will be writing. Must include a body in which you give a brief synopsis of the book or article and develop your arguments. Body usually will have one paragraph devoted to summarizing the article, and then your 3 body paragraphs that support your argument follow. So this is not typically a 5-paragraph essay. It's usually a minimum of 6. You'll also need to write a brief conclusion that summarizes your main points and restates your thesis statement. Clarity, style, grammatical accuracy are all key if you want your reader to understand what you are saying. So this is why we do peer reviews. Content and grammar are of equal importance. If I cannot understand your sentence structure, then I cannot follow your argument. In our textbook, there is an article called A Critique of Charles Krautheimer's The Moon We Left Behind, pages 67 through 71. I'd like you to review that based on the upcoming slides, and there is a handout in this week's folder online for you to do that with. While you're reading it, you're going to need to be looking for the introduction, summary of the context, the analysis of the text, and the evaluation of the text. This critique is the model for your essay number 1. When you analyze the introduction, you need to begin your critique with sentences giving the following information. We must know who wrote the article, what the article is called. You have to be able to tell me what the thesis statement for that writer is, whether or not you agree with it. The summary has to summarize the author's purpose, so inform, entertain, persuade, and then the main points that he or she has provided as evidence for their main points. And this should take 1 to 3 paragraphs, depending on the length of the reading. The review and evaluate section. To critically review the piece, answer the following questions. What are the credentials or areas of expertise of the author? Did the author use appropriate methods to gather the evidence? Was the evidence used by the author accurate? Does the author's use and interpretation of this evidence lead the reader to the same conclusion? Did the author build a logical argument? Meaning, are there any logical fallacies? Is there other evidence that would support a counter-argument or opposing view? Are the article and the evidence still valid, or are they outdated, leading to an invalid conclusion? Was the author successful in making her point? Lastly, the conclusion. You need to state whether or not you agree with the writer, and you need to back up your decisions by stating your reasons, and then give a general opinion of the work.